Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one is going to be feud prep for the July Jubilee faction feud. Um, on the surface, it seems like there's a lot you can do for this particular feud, but really it boils down to a bunch of modern era superstars. In particular, a lot of SmackDown. You need Raw. So we're gonna get in here, check out the lane bonuses. Mostly gonna start with the bottom lane because that's the one most people will be able to fill, and who might be good in that bottom lane, what perks you might want, things like that. So we'll jump in and start with the bottom row. When you're filling your bottom row, I would suggest starting with the both rows on the right. For the Raw and the SmackDown, you're going to have a lot less options for those two than you will for the two open modern ones. So I would start by picking your Raw and your SmackDown. Limited amount of guys going to be available, depending on your roster and how many guys you have. I have 209 characters, and I really don't, you'll see, I don't have a ton of options in either of those lanes, so I think, or either of those slots. So I think that's the best way to go about it, is filling those two in first. So the far right one, bottom right, is Raw required, and some of your major players for that are going to be Ricochet, Andrade. You can see I don't have Ricochet. Aleister Black, who I don't have. McIntyre, Tough, Brock. A lot of rare guys named off already there. A lot of guys people don't have. Shelton, Benjamin, that'll be one a lot of people probably have and can use. He can do some things. So he's got some blast gems and that kind of thing. And so does Brock. And you'll see that's one of the perks I happen to like for this particular feud for a few reasons. It works well with my roster, in particular Earthquake, but we'll talk about the perks at the end. So those are kind of the big ones. After that, there's just not a ton of Raw guys. So hopefully you have one of these guys. There's a good chance you might be using Shelton. You might be using Brock. A lot of the other ones are pretty rare. So that's why I say you want to start with these two first. You go into SmackDown. SmackDown should be better for most of you guys. The Hardy Boys are both there. Most people should have both of them. I would say use whichever one's higher. This bottom row is 25% gem damage boost, so in general, anyone that's blowing up a bunch of the board's going to be a good pick. So either of the Hardys should be good. If you have Rude, he's pretty solid. I'm going to go with Matt. Either Matt or Jeff would be good. SmackDown guys I don't have. If you have, I would absolutely use. Obviously, Kofi and Bludgeon Brother Harper. Those guys would be great. You're not gonna probably want to use Big Show unless you're not filling the next lane up. Otherwise, Big Show's solid with his botches and stuff. Although, and that 25% damage should work on his finisher as well. So those would all be pretty solid guys there. If you have Kofi or Harper, I would put them in this slot. Otherwise, Hardy Boys are probably going to be who most people run, and that's not a bad one to run. So, and you get to the next two slots; those are any modern era, so that opens up a lot more options. Lot of good choices in here. Pretty much any of the new Masters of the Universe guys, if you have them, are going to be good in this slot. If you got a decently leveled Biggie, Warriors blowing up a bunch of the board, Triple H is blowing up a ton of the board. any board destructor guys are going to be good with this damage bonus. The zombies, a lot of them would be good. Zombie Rock, Zombie Cena, Zombie Kane. I think you'll see a lot of 5-star Zombie Kanes. That's one of the ones that look like a lot of people decided to take to 5-star first. Mainly you just have to watch out for his stun loop. He's not particularly super scary unless they have the boss plate equipped on him. Then he's pretty nasty. So if he has that, that's not going to be fun for anyone. Robo Cena, it would be pretty dang good in this slot because he's blown up a lot of the board, but he's also good in the middle row too because it gets +2 yellow. So it's pretty good for Cena. Champa is going to be really good, especially with the perks, the MP perk adding 100% silence gem damage. So if you have Champa, he's going to be really, really tough this feud. Yeah, so any of the zombies really, again, looking for guys that can blow up the board, do big damage. So multiply guys, your Andrades, your Ricochets, if you have them both, but if you don't, you're using them in the raw area. Pretty good line for McIntyre. Again, another rare guy. A lot of rare guys. So Gallows, it's a pretty solid line for anyone doing a bunch of damage. So I would look for the or multiply guys. Jimmy should do very well on this line too with extra damage. So that's kind of the route I would go for that slot. Dango's going to be good. Anyone you can potentially turn one with will be really solid. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers that. Again, both the Hardy Boys, if you're not using one of them in SmackDown, you could use the other one here. If you don't need Shelton in the Raw side, you could do that. So before I get into the middle lane, I'll talk about some of the perks. They're pretty expensive this month, I feel like. There's a lot of good ones, though. You can see I maxed the MP one. This feud is going to be an important one. There's the plate in the final reward. Anytime you break 3 blue gems, you get 3 black MP. So that's would be insanely good for Acro Macho, who I don't have. Really, really good for him. It's going to be pretty solid on Big E. A lot of us have Big E, so and there's some other guys that it'll be very, very good on. I think it's a great plate. I definitely recommend going for this feud. So I bought a few more perks, spent a little more than I like to because I want to max this one for that. So the MP one is great. It's going to let you start turn 1. It's going to help you recharge if you need to. It also has the silence gem damage, do 100% more damage. So if you happen to have KO leveled up, Kevin Owens, he should be really good for you. I believe he has SmackDown link too. Yes, he does. I just don't have him 4-star, so he's not showing up. He would be pretty solid SmackDown guy as well. Most of you should have that. If you're buying perk, that's pretty much the first one everyone buys. And I may have missed a SmackDown or Raw guy because I don't have them all 4-star and it's hard to see. But that's a great, really, really good perk. So I definitely recommend maxing that. You can turn 1 with a lot of your guys. In the feud roster I'm showing, everyone is turn 1 except for Matt Hardy. So that's a huge difference. Saves a ton of health packs. So try and get those turn 1 guys, but also make sure they can kill people too. Or it doesn't do much good. This next perk, Blast Gem, is really going to be dependent on who you're running. It's more expensive than it was last month, but it's really good. And then it has the added one of adding more power gems on each attack. Obviously I have Booker T and I'm using him, so I'm take advantage of that. And then the blast gems do 25% more damage, as well as create 3 more. That's strictly for my earthquake. He's going to be turn 1 doing an obscene amount of damage, so I can't pass up that because it's really good fun. If you don't have earthquake and you're not sure if you should use this, it'll probably depend on if you're using Brock or Shelton in your feud lineup. Those are the kind of the 3 blast gem guys you're likely to be using this feud. And if you're using them a bunch, that'll make your life a lot easier. So kind of go with that if you're using those guys. The last one I have is the gem generator perk. I basically took it to rank 2 because the next rank is very, very expensive, and 2 should do enough to help me counter when someone else has it. That's really my main goal, is I don't want my gem generating nerfed huge, so I can't make very many gems, and if someone doesn't have it, then I nerf theirs a little bit, so it's a nice little advantage. But going to rank 3 is very expensive. There's also your classic multiply gem perk, which is I think always the most expensive one. If you were to be running like Andrade, Ricochet, Harper, and you had all 3 of those guys, that would probably be a no-brainer at that point. If you're not running a bunch of multiply gem guys, I don't think it's worth it at all. There's a cross break one. Maybe if you were running like Matt and Warrior or something. Yeah, I don't know. The cross break one is again pretty expensive too. So, and then I think there was one other perk, but most of them didn't really excite me. Pretty niche or very expensive. So this is about kind of the limit that I thought was good and useful. You're of course welcome to do whatever, but try and make sure your perks make sense with your guys you're using and your line bonuses that you're getting. Middle row here, a lot of people probably won't be able to fill this one. If you can, it might look different than mine. If you can fill it, there's some good strikers you can use besides Booker T. I'll open this up here. So +2 yellow charge and +25% to power gems. Sting is obviously going to be really good for that line because he starts with yellows and all of that stuff has power gems. Tyler Breeze is pretty good with his yellow moveset, makes him turn 1. I'll actually be using him when I'm not using Booker. Robo Cena, again, another good lane bonus for him. He's a really solid striker, I'll continue to say that, and I think a lot of people miss the boat on him. This is going to be a very good lane for him with 2 more yellow. Those are probably the big ones that'll take advantage of it. NWO Ted, if you got him, it'll be solid line for him. I suppose Mr. T with the power gem set would be okay. It's not his best moveset though. Those are probably the big ones I would say that take advantage of the lane bonus. Of course, you can put any striker you have in there, but putting ones that you can get something from the lane bonus is pretty good. Moving to the middle one, most people are going to have Big Slow in there and not NWO show, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't have a ton of options. Those are it. Use whichever one is better. And then last slot is the natural disasters. A lot of you will probably have Typhoon. If you have Earthquake, use him. Use his blast gem set. He's gonna be, for me, making with Rusev on there, he'll be making 9 blast gems, destroying 3. That's gonna blow up the whole board with the blast gem bonus, so he's gonna be super nasty. If you don't have Earthquake, the extra yellows is just gonna help Typhoon fill his yellows faster. Really strong character. you're going to see a lot of Typhoons too. So have a good counter in mind for that. The top lane, very few people are going to have APA Farouk in there. So if you do, congratulations. 2 starting, Black MP, extra gem generation. You know, Edge will be great in there. Oh, who else would be really good? Would be really good for Big E. I'm forgetting someone. There's someone super obvious. Oh, Macho, Trickster Macho would be great for him. Rock's got some black moves, so you know, I'm not gonna talk about this slot too much because so few people are gonna have it. So anyway, I think that's the big stuff. Really start with your Raw SmackDown guys, get your 2 best in there, then add your other 2 moderns. If you can fill this middle row, I think really the only big reason to fill the middle row is going to be if you have Earthquake or Booker T. I don't know that Sting really needs it. I mean, it'll obviously help, but I don't know that Sting needs it. So, you know, if you can't really take advantage of this row bonus, then just use the bottom one and take enough guys to meet the minimum requirement. Because the whole goal with the lanes is to really take advantage of the bonus. So if you don't have Earthquake, you don't have like a Booker T, even though the lane bonus isn't great, Harper would be good in there if you're running the multiply perks and you have, you know, you don't have a slot down here for him, but you'd probably use him in SmackDown anyway. So go in with a smaller roster first. You can always make it bigger. Speed is the key. It's your friend. Take advantage of the lane bonuses. If you can't, don't fill them just to fill them. So I would really focus for most of you on this bottom lane, the 25% jam damage, making everyone you can turn 1, and really nasty to deal with. So anyway, I hope this video helps. Remember to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and good luck out there in Feud, guys.